Welcome to Washington in Focus. I'm Brett Davis. Joining me today is the Center Square's Western Washington reporter, Spencer Pauly. You recently authored a piece headlined, Proposed Drug Possession Bill in Seattle Fails. It looks like the Seattle City Council narrowly voted down a bill that would have allowed the city attorney's office to prosecute public drug use cases. The ordinance would have brought Seattle in line with the state's new drug possession law, making the crime a gross misdemeanor, which goes into effect on July 1. So in practical terms, what does this mean for Seattle?
Well, basically, all simple drug possession charges that will, result after July 1st, when the Blake fix goes into effect, will be going to the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. This has been the case already. They handle all drug possession cases within Seattle, and it will continue to do so. The issue that comes from that, however, is that King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office is quoted saying that it does not have the staff or resources to take on a new body of misdemeanor and gross misdemeanor cases that result from this.
That sounds like a bit of a problem.
Yeah, they were looking for Seattle to instead take responsibility for this. However, City Council's central staff said that Seattle would quickly need to establish the infrastructure for prosecution and diversion. This would include developing therapeutic courts, things like that King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office already has.
So if I'm understanding this right, the city attorney's office, they won't have the authority to prosecute these cases, but the King County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, they would have jurisdiction to prosecute gross misdemeanors inside city limits. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes. It would be up to their discretion. However, the Prosecuting Attorney's Office has already been stated saying that they are focusing more on felony cases. So I think you will see their backlog of, simple drug possession charges and cases continue to increase exponentially once this goes into effect.
Now I understand this was a rather long city council meeting where they discussed this for hours and you watched all of it. Is that correct?
Yes. And I feel sorry for my editor who's on Central Time who had to wait for me for about I would think almost 5 hours. Public comment, majority of them were against this bill, took over 2.5 hours with some recess in between to calm the crowd down.
What was their problem with the bill? Why were they against it?
Well, they were against it because they believed that this council bill would align with the tactics you see in the 1980s with the war on drugs, where they're looking for jail as an option for anyone public drug use. And the people in Seattle, it seems like, do not appreciate that and do not like that.
Maybe they want more diversion and treatment options as opposed to law enforcement?
Yes, but it seems like that's not something that Seattle has at hand, right, capable of doing so with the number of drug users within the city limits.
Seems like there's a weird division of power between the city attorney's office and the county. So I'm just spitballing here, but I would imagine there would need to be some sort of agreement between the two entities if they want to partner up and deal with this.
That's going to be the case. There will have to enter some kind of agreement here. It is expected that King County will have the authority to charge the city for handling any drug possession charges. So there is no cost estimate either way if Seattle were to take over responsibility for prosecution or if King County continues to do so with the gross misdemeanor cases. Seattle will hold the tab regardless.
So if Seattle does end up taking over some of this, would they have to go back and pass another ordinance, or is it a done deal, or will they consider this again in the future?
That's not for sure yet. This was proposed by City Attorney Ann Davison, who said that because this was failed, Seattle will be the only municipality in the state where it's legal to use hard drugs in public. That may not be entirely true because King County can still prosecute users.
I was going to say that sounds like a rather controversial statement. I imagine she got some blowback on that.
Yes, but whether or not she decides to quickly propose a new legislation to go to city council before July 1st is up to, be decided. We'll see.
Now, I don't know if you know this off the top of your head, but are any other cities having problems like this or, difficulties making decisions given Washington State's new or impending drug law?
I will say since the Blake fix was being determined within the state, the whole entire chaos that went on for the past couple months, Seattle was the only city that I covered that wanted a misdemeanor charge instead of gross misdemeanor. All the other cities within King County, Pierce County, Snohomish County all seem to be in agreement that they need to be gross misdemeanor charges for drug users and that jail needed to be an option. Seattle just seems to be the one outlier so far.
Yeah, the reason I asked is because I hadn't seen, read, or heard, of any other cities having this difficulty, just Seattle.
As things usually go here.
And on that note, we'll look forward to your continued reporting on this. I'm sure more will come up on this topic. Seems like it's never ending. So listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Spencer Pauly, this is Brett Davis. Please subscribe and thanks for listening.